Good evening, Wumi. Good evening, students. It's great to have you all here. Wumi, would you like help with the slides?
Okay.
I would have to be because I'm going to go over the Constitution and I want to use words as they are. So I'll be using Constitution also there on my phone.
Right, that's fine. I'll share my screen when you're about to start.
Thank you very much, Wumi. Well done. Great
Right.
to have everybody here. And the class, you can chat on the class. I have activated messages for class to be able to move forward with people chatting on the class. So, Maureen, are you there? Hello? Maureen, are you there? Maureen, if you can hear me, could you like send a message that...
Hi.
Maureen, could you like send a message that people can converse on the class? Because I think when you start conversing, it will trigger other people to join the class because they would understand that the class is on. And for 750 something students that we have, having 23 in class is not average. So could you do that, Maureen? Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Lisa, good evening. Welcome everyone also. Lisa, as we've activated the conversations on the class, could we give the class like a few more, let's say 3 or 4 minutes so that people could also pick up so they could be part of the class? Thank you very much. Hello, Alan, you have a question. Class is about to start, so maybe instead of keeping quiet, maybe I'll allow you ask your question. So you can unmute your mic, Alan Brown, and ask your question. Alan Brown, are you there? Alan Brown, are you there?
Edie, can you give me permission to share my screen?
Oh,
so
okay,
I could put up the slides. Yeah.
Can you share them now, Lisa?
Yes, I can. I'll do that right away.
Good day, everyone. I think I'm reading some comments on the chat, and I think why we've allowed this is because this is a new class. These are pre-classes, so we won't really hold on time like that. I would say moving forward, classes will start exactly at 5, and we will not wait for anyone. So for now, I think it's understandable that we could have, people that don't yet know it's 5 o'clock as time of class and etc. So let's just give them the 2 minutes. We'll start exactly at 5:10. Lisa, hope you can hear me. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kule.
Good evening. Thank you very much. So we'd like to maintain
Good evening.
kind of good evening, Alan. We'll try
Good
to
evening.
maintain good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Would like to maintain silence while the class is going on. The way it will be, I would stop because this is a topic that I know would of course intrigue a lot of questions. So as we move along, I'll stop and ask so that everybody's carried along while we're moving through the class. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
It's all right, sir.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
that is good.
I think it is okay. We can carry on.
Lisa, hello everyone. Good day, everyone. Welcome
Yes.
to the Nigerian Institution. I don't know if you guys, everybody.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, good day, everyone. I've had to mute everyone because I noticed everybody signing in is probably trying to give a statement when they come in. So the class is supposed to have started. This is 513. Welcome to the Nigerian Constitution. Now, I'm going to take a walk through the Nigerian Constitution. And over the time we're going to do this, I know it's expansive. We cannot cover it totally in its entirety. But everybody has the class slides which are on the Telegram group. So what we're going to do today is to try to explain the Nigerian Constitution as it is, and we're going to try to walk through it together. Now it's expansive, so at points we're going to stop and I'm going to allow for questions as we're walking through. And then as we go through, we can decipher, what's necessary. Please, till the end, let's not, if we're going to ask questions, let it just be related to the parts between what we've covered, or because once we've covered something and I ask for questions and then we dump it at the back, I don't want another question coming from the back. So we'll just try to go along on a smooth pace. It's going to be, I'll try to keep this minimal to 1 hour and not more than that. But that will be hard work, but we'll need all of us to participate with that and of course stay with that. So the Nigerian Constitution, Lisa, could I have next slide, please? Thank you very much. Lisa, are you there? Could I have the next slide? Okay, so basic preamble. The Constitution, of course, is a document that, of course, the basic principles which govern a nation or social group. It determines the powers and duties of government, embodying and guaranteeing certain rights to people, a written instrument embodying the rules of a political or social organization. The Constitution takes full effect when the government adheres to it. The citizens know it, and the National Assembly continuously update it. It's the holy book of a nation. Now, I'll proceed to discuss this. The Constitution is a document that we, of course, cannot say does not work or is infallible if we do not understand it. So the conversations you probably hear across dinner tables, in beer parlors, in joints, on social media, which you have people saying, Constitution is not good, Constitution is a problem, Constitution is this, Constitution is that. I'll tell you, 86% of those people, that's a rough estimate, but about 86% of those people have not opened the Constitution to look at it. I would also say there's a little deficiency, especially within the National Assembly, and it's like a lackadaisical approach to the Constitution. So in other countries, let's say the United States, we would have probably a little above 4,000 amendments between 1999 and present. What we have in Nigeria is less than 200 amendments between 1999 and now, meaning that the National Assembly is performing way, way, way below par. The Constitution is not something that is going to stand up and hit you on the head and start to walk. If the citizens understand the Constitution and those in office understand the Constitution, then the citizens can then effectively engage and ask the relevant questions. The Constitution of Nigeria is only as powerful as its citizens know it. We need to understand this, and this is even applicable in, of course, very civilized countries. So you have the US, you have, Britain doesn't operate within written constitution exactly, but India, you need to understand the Constitution to begin to engage with government, to begin to understand what exactly your rights are, to begin to know what exactly can be done and what can be done. If I were to ask a poser right now at this point in time to just make this class a little bit interesting, how many people before this class know that the local government has no immunity? That to mean local government chairmen and councillors. So you can just raise up your hand and just, we'll walk through it. So are you aware the local government has immunity or not? So raise your hand and then I'll allow people to unmute their mics. I think I have Ibrahim Mohammed, and Ibrahim Mohammed can go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please, briefly, we have a long class to go, so very briefly, Ibrahim, thank you.
Okay, I know that immunity does not include local government as well, but how people approach a local government tier of government. I mean, the third tier of government is another problem. Many are not that interested with what is happening there because they feel they are the weakest among the three. Yeah.
So thank you very much, Brian. Now,
Thank you.
to help buttress your point, the Electoral College was around for monitoring of the Lagos State local government elections and also for the just concluded Abuja local government elections. Now, what is most shocking is that places like you had shocking 0 people coming out to vote. That is War College, whatever. But it's not the voting that is exactly the problem. Now, what's shocking is that people do not understand that a place at a municipal as distant as Abaji is has a budget of 7.8 billion naira, and that was as of 2019. It of course will be increased towards this time. So do we think local governments are not that important? They actually are more important than we could think. But remember, we're going to walk around this course. We're going to see what the Constitution allows. We're going to walk around the whole process. So this is just the preamble. Lisa, could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so the Constitution of Nigeria didn't just start one day and we just picked having a constitution. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so we didn't just pick a constitution and just say that's the way we're going to run. It didn't just appear from anywhere. It didn't just appear from anywhere. So pre-independence, we of course had a constitution had a constitution governing us while we're colonized. Now the pre-independence constitutions, of course, date from the first one from Littleton to I think no, sorry, Littleton was 54. So about we had Clifford, Richard, Macpherson, and Littleton as our pre-independence constitutions. And these were all, ways in which the British then, who of course colonized Nigeria, tried to manage the people of Nigeria. I will state that at this point, if you understand anything about why, you want to understand why we are even considered regional in Nigeria, the Richard's Constitution of 1946 will be a very good place to go and start. And that is because the Richard's Constitution came post the Aba Women's Riot, the Abeokuta Women fracas, and a few other, strifes in Nigeria. And they realized that if Nigeria was kept as a united federating unit while it was being governed by colonialists, they would need to separate the regions clearly or distinctively, even with governance, to be able to enforce the indirect rule which they were practicing. So if you go over the constitution, you know that Macpherson, after the stripes, tried to separate Nigeria on borderlines. I would say this has not helped Nigeria because Nigeria seemed to develop a party perspective, which was always regional. So heading towards independence post the Littleton Constitution, you have parties like the NCP, the NPCP, which was northern, the NCP, which was eastern, and then the AG, which was of course western. And we kind of walked within those regions, even when we eventually took power. Of course, moving into the post-independence constitution, we had the independence constitution. But remember that even at the independence constitution, the Queen was still somehow the head of the country till we decided in 1963 to become a federating republic, which of course gave Nigerians full control to their entire country. Now, post 1963, we've had this 1979 constitution. Thanks to the military, that constitution was kind of still most post-colonial and still structured of the colonial thought process, which we've always had. And to give everything a little bias, the military had held power for so much time that in 1979, when that constitution was brought up, before the constitution even fully enact itself and start to take power or start to work effectively, the military had taken power again in 1983. And of course, democracy was kissed goodbye till sometime in 1999, which is, of course, the present constitution which we operate with. So the 1999 constitution, of course, is the basic constitution we have. Now, most people want to say or joke, 1999 is old, we need a new constitution. I don't fully agree. And I'll state this is my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But if you've gone through the Constitution, one of the key things you will find out is that we have laws, and most of the laws we're trying to think of are already existent. Are they implemented? That's another problem. Like I said earlier, the Constitution itself is not even implemented to about 45%, and which is a big problem, which is why everybody seems to blame the Constitution for everything. But as we blame the Constitution, one thing I think we always miss is that we seem to skip our legislative arm in being key to ensuring we have the kind of laws. So we can modify a constitution. Doesn't mean we should trash out everything. It just means we can modify a constitution. But when your national, your legislative is totally inactive, you're going to have a serious problem with how the constitution works and how it prevails itself in entirety. Now, after this slide, I would like, if you have a question, I would allow you ask a question, but remember, it must be brief. It's just so that we don't have questions that you've forgotten at the end. So it must be brief and it must be direct. Just raise your hand, and then when I call your name, just you can unmute your mic. Thank you. So I'll give like a 2-3 minute space for that. Elder Jason Baba Kwagi, if I'm right.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Hello,
evening,
can you
Elder.
hear me? Before we proceed, sir, there have been debates, especially in newspapers and on the social media, about the Constitution of Nigeria being one of the major impediments to the development of the country. I want to hear your view, whether you believe that or it's not.
Sorry, I was talking and I didn't realize I was muted. So, Elder, you said on the media and
Especially on the social media, sir. I belong to a WhatsApp group that's always attacking the 1999 Constitution.
so
The members of that WhatsApp group
I'll
only
ask you a
believe that
relevant
that.
question.
Yes, sir.
Has any of them read the Constitution? And if they disagree with one part, why have they not approached their legislators to correct that particular part in the Constitution? You know, I'll tell you something with Nigeria. It's easy to blame everybody and not take responsibility for what exactly it should be. So it's always a cutthroat situation. We're always looking at who to point fingers with. Point fingers at. But we never have a position where we actually decide to hold ourselves accountable to the things we believe in. So yes, it's a common argument, and I knew this class was going to, have this kind of, which is why I'm taking stops and deciding to, because I can't go over it truly. We would, of course, still have multiple conversations, still have a lot of stuff going on. And this question you raised is very paramount. Now, I think the question that should be asked when most of the time this comes up is, have you read the Constitution? Do you understand? Can you interpret? Those are the relevant questions, Elder. Anything you want to add to it?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
No problem, Elder. Thank you very much. So we can proceed, Lisa. Could we have the next slide, please? Thank you. Thank you. So we're going into chapter 1 of the Constitution. I don't know if you guys have the mobile app or something for the Constitution. It'd be good to see this. I would open my own the Constitution on my phone, but I wish we can share the Constitution. I think Maureen, can you get that shared on the class? We can share the Constitution of Nigeria.
It's already on the class. I'll share it. Lisa also shared it.
Thank you very much. So we have thank you very much for that. So we're going to go into chapter 1. And one of the first things that happens, so I'll go over this slide and then I would allow for questions again, if that's allowed. So we're going to go into the supremacy of the Constitution. So the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, of course, Chapter 1, Part 1, states the supremacy of the Constitution. So the Constitution is supreme, and its provisions shall have binding force on the authorities and persons throughout Nigeria, not not in a state. Meaning a state cannot, a state can have its laws. The Constitution allows for that. But in a position where it contravenes the existing provisions of the Constitution remains supreme. The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be governed, nor shall any persons or group of persons take control of the government of Nigeria or any part thereof, except in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. This, of course, is describing that anybody that is going to take power must do so within the provisions of the Constitution. That is why when military takes over, we always hear the Constitution has been disbanded or held or suspended. That's what the military always says first, because them taking power is unconstitutional. If any other law, okay, I'd even said this ahead of time, which is 3. If any other law is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution, this Constitution shall prevail. And the other law shall, to the extent of the inconsistency, be void. Now, this is very key. It means that you cannot just make a law in a state. And even though it's a law in a state, now most people will argue that for a federating unit, this is not right. No, I think we haven't been ingenious with making laws in the State's House of Assembly or whatever, because we've not tried to key into some things that the Constitution says and then, try to expand out of it and then try to gain what we're supposed to gain. So the supremacy of the Constitution can never be undermined. Hence the next topic, which is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1. Nigeria is one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign state, known by the name of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria shall be a federation consisting of states and a federal capital territory. This goes on to say there shall be 36 states in Nigeria and goes on to mention the 36 states. Each state in Nigeria, named the first column, Part 1 of the first schedule of the Constitution, shall consist of the area shown opposite thereto in the second column of the schedule. Headquarters of the governor of each state shall be known as the capital city of that state. Federal capital territory, which goes on and on and on and on and on. And as the Constitution states, there shall be 77. So I think it's what I have 768, but I'm aware that it's been updated. There shall be 774 local governments in Nigeria. Now, this goes to say that if you live in a state like Lagos, which has LCDAs, now LCDAs are recognized in Lagos by the Lagos state government, of course, but provisions by the federal government are made for 20 local governments. Lagos has the right to, of course, enact its own LCDAs, which is why they are not called LGs, they are called LCDAs. So these LCDAs, of course, help with governance in Lagos, but the provision is for 20 local governments, which is what is dealt with. Now the I think plus LCDs, Lagos State has 50. So 30 are LCDs, 20 are actual local governments recognized by the federal government. And let's not get into the Lagos argument yet. We're not there yet. Please, let's not bring this up. So, of course, Lagos has its power to do those things, but the federal government provides and allocates 20 local governments, which are actually what the Constitution provides for. So next, we will be moving to legislative powers. So now legislative powers. Of course, the legislative powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be vested in National Assembly, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Rep, meaning a bicameral legislature. A unicameral legislature means 1, a bicameral means two. So we have two federal houses, two houses in the National Assembly. National Assembly shall have power to make laws for peace, order, and good of the government of the Federation, or any part thereof. The power of National Assembly is to make laws for peace, order, and good of the government with respect to any matter included in the exclusive legislative list, save as otherwise provided in the Constitution, to be the exclusion of the Houses of Assembly. So this National Assembly has its jurisdictions to which it can make laws. The Houses of Assembly has its jurisdictions to which it can make laws. The legislative as a body is covered up from the state Houses of Assembly to the federal Houses of Assembly. In addition, without prejudice to powers conferred in subsection 2 of the section, National Assembly should have the power to make laws in respect to any matter in concurrent legislative list, any other matter with respect. Hello, please, could you mute your mics, please? Any other matter with respect to which it is empowered to make laws in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Laws enacted by the House of Assembly of a state is inconsistent with any law validly made by the National Assembly, which means the National Assembly supersedes state House of Assembly. Where state House of Assemblies can make laws as long as they do not contravene laws, counter laws made by the National Assembly. Legislative powers of the state of the Federation are vested in the House of Assembly of a state. House of Assembly of the state shall have the power to make laws for peace, order, and good government as there above. Now, most people want to ask, what exactly is this legislative? What exactly? So the legislative has a few parameters. First, they should be able to make laws and amend laws. That's the first power. Second power of legislative is oversight on the executive. They also have budgetary powers, meaning the executive can write anything he wants to write as a budget, but till conferred or dealt with by the National Assembly, that budget cannot be passed. Meaning funding of governance, always. Yes, though what exactly is going to be done is okay, you know what? Let me simplify this. Let me stop speaking English. Let me simplify this barest minimum. So we all grew up in houses. No offense, so no, of course, gender sensitive, but we're going to talk as we grew up in African houses. So your mom is like the executive. She writes provisions needed for the house and what's needed for the house. And then dad is like the legislative. He looks over the budget, cancels some things according to his pocket, and releases the money, and orders for the release of the money. So I'm just trying to relate. No offense to gender, like I said earlier, but I'm just trying to relate, and nobody should give me any question in case if a mother does it, then turn it vice versa, and let's not make it complicated. So at that point, that's what we're looking at. So now we're going into executive powers. Now, executive powers, of course, are subject to the provisions of the Constitution, shall be vested in president and may subject, as aforesaid, to the provisions of any law made by the National Assembly, meaning that the president indirectly is subservient to the National Assembly. Any law made by the National Assembly be exercised by him, either directly through the vice president, ministers in government. Now, we should understand that ministers in government are appointed executive. They're elected executive and appointed executive. So executive in governance, you have local government chairman, you have the state governor, and you have the president and vice president. Appointed executives, you have secretary general of federation, the what they call it, the ministers, the DGs, the MDs, and surprise you, Nigeria has more than 1,500 ministries, departments, and agencies along the way. Anyway, moving on. Shall extend to the execution and maintenance of this constitution. All laws shall be made by the National Assembly to all matters with respect to which the National Assembly has, for time being, power to make laws. Shall be vested in governor of state, this provision of all laws made by the House of Assembly, be exercised by either him through the deputy governor or commissioners of government. Now, commissioners are also appointed executive at state level. And that of officers of the public service, those are of MDAs within the public service, your lower point. So shall extend to the execution and maintenance of the Constitution. Executive powers vested in the state, of course, impede and prejudice the exercise of executive powers of the Federation. Shall also exercise as not to, impede and prejudice the exercise of executive powers of the Federation. endanger any asset or investment of the government of federation in the state, or endanger the continuance of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Notwithstanding the foregoing provisions of this section, the president shall not declare a state of war between the federation and another country, except with the sanction of a resolution of both houses of National Assembly sitting in a joint session. Meaning the president cannot order war without what they call it, both houses of National Assembly agreeing to declare war, except with prior approval of the Senate. No member of the armed forces of the Federation shall be deployed on combat duty outside Nigeria, meaning that purview is actually placed in the National Assembly. Notwithstanding the provisions of subsection 4 of this section, the President, in consultation with the National Defense Council, may deploy members of the armed forces of the Federation on a limited combat duty outside if he is satisfied that national security is under imminent threat or danger, provided that the president shall, within 7 days of actual combat engagement, seek the consent of the Senate, and the Senate shall thereafter give or refuse the said consent within 14 days. Now we'll move on, of course, to judicial powers. Now, the judicial arm, of course, are vested. The judicial powers of the Federation are vested in courts, which of course this section relates, which courts are established in the Federation. Judicial powers of state are vested in courts in this section. Now, the courts to which this section relates, established by the Constitution for the Federation and for states, specified in subsection 5 and 1 of this section, shall be the only superior courts of records in Nigeria, and save as otherwise prescribed to the National Assembly or the House of Assembly of a state. Each court shall have all the powers of a superior court of record. National Assembly or any House of Assembly from establishing courts other than those to which this section relates, with subordinate jurisdiction to that of a high court. National Assembly or any House of Assembly which does not require it from abolishing any court, which has the power to establish or which has brought into being. So the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Federal High Court. Of course, these are, of course, courts according to levels. Of course, there's Sharia courts, there's the High Court, and of course, these have levels according to tiers of government. So, of course, I'm going to ask one question at this point because I think the question is very, very necessary as we're going on. Okay, let's take the local government system before we get into that question. So we're going to move to the local government system. I hope I don't sound too gibberish sounding. Anyway, I hope I'll be able to. So the system of local government by democratically elected. You can see that the Constitution does not provide for caretaker committees or caretaker local government chairman. It's infringement of the Constitution, which ensure their existence under a law which provides for establishment, structure, finance, and functions. It means that the Constitution already states that local governments are autonomous. I know sometime in 2010, the president gave an executive order 10 of 2020, which of course declared or stated that local governments legislature and their judiciary should be financially independent. Was this taken by the Senate or adopted by the Senate? No, it was not. And I don't know for what reason, but we'll get into that. A person authorized by law to prescribe the area over which the local government council may exercise authority. So the local government has powers over, and I'll try to run over this, your billboards, internal revenue, birth and registration, though that is shared with the National Population Council, tax, security also within a local government. So now I know there will be multiple hands. So let's try and get this done so that we can move into chapter 2. So I'll take questions as regards what we just dealt with. Thank you. Hello, everyone. No show of hands. Okay, Alan, if I'm right. Is that Alan? Alan, you can unmute your mic and go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Hello, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, you sound very low and far away.
Okay, I guess the earpods are a bit having issues. So
Yeah,
can you hear me
could
now?
disconnect your AirPods. Probably you sound very low and far away.
So can you hear me now, sir?
Quite low, but anyway, I can hear.
But you can hear me. But you can hear me now better.
Yeah, I can hear you a bit better. It's not loud, but I can hear you a bit better.
Okay. While you were explaining, you touched on the issue of the military taking over power. I think you mentioned 1983, and we are aware when it started from 1966 and to all ended in 1999 when democracy actually took over. My question actually is, in your explanation also, and as according to the Constitution, that the only means through which any individual or any organization or any entity can be able to take over power within the Nigerian context must come through a democratic means, which means through elections. And your explanation actually posits that the military taking over power is illegal. It's not part of the Constitution. So my question here is, why do Nigerians decide to adopt a product of an undemocratic process to govern her people, which is the Constitution, which is a product of the military? That is my question.
Okay, you need to understand that when the military takes over power, the military first suspends the constitution. We are going over this quickly, which is why I didn't have time to start to explain fully. But the military suspends the constitution because the constitution does not grant them power. And if you notice, the military does not use bills, amendments, or constitutional provisions. What the military uses is decrees, which is totally outside the constitution and an infringement on the constitution. So the first thing any military government does when they read their speech is the constitution is now suspended. Check any military takeover, the constitution must be suspended. That's the only way they handle things. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. Are you clarified or you still want me to explain further?
I'm clarified, but my case is the product of the constitution that we're using today was actually introduced by the same military people. And from the previous question someone asked about the constitution problem
Hello?
of Nigeria and all that. Can you hear me,
Hello,
sir?
I can barely hear you. But if I get what you're saying that the constitution we're using is a product of the military.
Yes, sir.
That is not necessarily true. Please Google the people that wrote the constitution.
Okay. Okay. All right.
The constitution
So let's
was
continue.
actually written by Nigerians.
Okay.
Though written preceding a democracy under a military rule, but it was written by Nigerians, not the military. That is how would I put it? That is a preconceived fact, which is not true. A preconceived thought with myth, which is not true. Dukas, please, would you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Is it me or I can hardly hear you guys? Hello?
I think it's from you because I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. I don't know why this is happening.
But can you hear me now?
Yes, very well. I can hear you now.
Okay. No. My question is on local government autonomy. You said caretaker committee.
I read from the Constitution.
Okay, yes, from the Constitution, sorry. From the Constitution. And then caretaker committee is infringement of the Constitution, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean that the local government can as well sue the executive for putting a caretaker committee for local government?
Yes, the local government can, and the people can sue for that singular action. Yes, they can, but it's not done because we don't engage the system properly. We don't also understand the system. I'm always of the opinion that till we can never engage the system till we understand the system.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. You guys, are we going to leave class today? Okay, Mrs. Njoku Toby, if I'm right.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Njoku Toby, if I'm right.
Yes. All right. I just want to based on what the last two um, persons that asked questions about the foundation of the Constitution, I needed to really understand, because you said that the Constitution per se were drafted by Nigerians. But if we look at from the Clifford Constitution of 1922 down to McPherson Constitution, even the Richards Constitution and Littleton Constitution, we discover that there are some places where some consultations were made in trying to resolve the problems of the day, in trying to bring in a new constitution. And that has really helped in solving most of the problems that were emanating in those days. Now, during the 1999 constitution, we are aware that some Nigerians were drafted into a committee to set up a constitution for Nigeria. My question is this: fully aware that a democratic process needed to have a foundation that is people-driven. Even though the 1999 constitution was drafted by the military, why was it not
I need to correct that. You can Google that. It was not drafted by the military. Yes, the military, of course, was the government of the day, but they handed it over to, you can Google it. This information is available online.
Okay, sir. So, but my question is this: why is it that it was somehow unattainable for them to pass it through a political means to make it a kind of a democratic document for Nigerians?
I will state that the only document for this country remains the Constitution of the Federal Republic, which is of 1999. And we need to understand that the reason we have a National Assembly, if you notice, preceding my conversation, I stated something, that part of the problems of the Constitution existing presently is the lackadaisical approach by those in the Houses of Assembly. So if the House of Assembly, which is supposed to have, of course, improved the Constitution post-military, has not done so, who exactly are you holding liable? The people that wrote the Constitution, or the people that are supposed to have adjusted it for the kind of the democracy and the times we have right now? I'm asking a question, sir.
I think that the National Assembly per se are supposed to have a review of it. They have also failed, because I believe that it was part of the system to make sure that the Constitution does not work. Because
no. Let me explain this. I need to. I don't want to have this conversation, which is that the Constitution is fighting some people. It's not fighting anybody. The truth is that the thought process of people in 1999, even you in 1999, the way you think is not the way you think now. That is why we have an existing National Assembly. If the National Assembly has not done its work to improve the laws just by amendments, it doesn't mean taking down the entire Constitution, but at least, readjusting the wordings and resetting up a lot of things to ensure that it fits the people of the present day, then the National Assembly should be held accountable, not anybody else, not the people that wrote the Constitution. I think we've pointed our fingers in the wrong direction.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So Mustafa Ibrahim, if I'm right, that's the last hand.
Hello, sir. It seems like Mr. Tony have covered most of my questions that I wanted to ask. But are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud.
Yeah, and my question is regarding the Land Use Act, of which it does not correlate with the Nigerian Constitution, because most of the land issues were being that is handled by the degree of 1978 or yeah, something there about. So why is it that the Constitution is not functioning as far as we're in a democratic system of government? Thank you.
Okay, these questions now, your own question has gone outside the jurisdictions we've reached. Like I said, I don't want to treat any other part that we haven't gotten to yet. So I'm hoping that we'll not turn this class into a part 1 and part 2, because it seems that we are going to. So the Land Use Act, of course, like every other probably act, like the Electoral Act, which of course we're trying to also get president's signature over. Though I'm wondering also why the National Assembly has not vetoed the president, which they have power according to the Constitution. These are things that you see. I think we focus too much direction on the executive in Nigeria, and we've totally neglected the legislative arm and holding them accountable. The legislative arm has totally not done much in trying to achieve the Nigeria that we dream we want to achieve. So if you have a problem with the Land Use Act, we're supposed to sit down with the legislature and ensure that this actions should have been taken. I'm not saying the Land Use Act is of course archaic and of course behind time, but have we approached the legislature? No, we're looking at the president to do it. That's a legislative function. Hello.
Can you loud and clear, sir? I understand now. I understand, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to buttress your point that, as you have rightly said, the Nigerian Constitution is not a military document. It was fashioned by Nigerians, and they also used, because we can say we have a constitutional conference in 1989. We had another one in 1995, and they also in 1979 they used steps of all these parts to formulate our present 1999 constitution. So I can say it's people driven. People were actually part of the process of making the constitution a reality. As you have rightly said, all we just need is for us to be up and doing and to put pressure on our National Assembly, the state out of assembly, so they can rework on the constitution to achieve the constitution that really fits into what we really want for our democracy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Opeyomi Ojo. And Lisa, do we still have another question? Okay. Okay, I've put down all hands. Could we move to chapter 2? Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa, could you move the slide to the next one? Lisa, are you there? No, you've gone to 3. That's far. 2. Thank you very much. So I'll say something. The way I'm seeing this class, we cannot do it in 1 hour. So we're going to split this class into 2 weeks. We're going to try to do 3 chapters today, and I think the other 3 next week. I think that's what will be best suited for it, because I don't think at this rate we'll be able to cover the entire thing today. This already, we've just at chapter 2 and it's already to 6. And I don't want to keep everybody here for a long time. It's a weekend. So fundamental objectives of the government. Now, there are fundamental obligations. So it shall be the duty and responsibility of all organs of government and of all authorities and persons exercising legislative and executive or judicial powers to conform to or observe and apply the provisions of this chapter of this Constitution, meaning nobody is supposed to act outside the Constitution, government and the people. The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be a state based on principles of democracy and social justice. Please remember this: democracy and social justice. It is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom which the government, through the Constitution, derives its power and authority. Security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Participation of the people. Now, this is key. You see, it talks about the security and welfare of the people first as the primary purpose of government. But it also says the participation by the people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The composition of government of the Federation or any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in a manner to reflect federal character. You need to promote national unity and also command national loyalty. Composition of government of the state, local government council, or any of the agencies of government or council, and the conduct of the affairs of the government or council or such agency shall be carried out in such a manner to recognize the diversity of people within its area of authority and the need to promote a sense of belonging and loyalty among the people. Now, this covers, I cannot buy land in Aba because I'm not from Aba. I cannot buy land in Jigawa because I'm not from Jigawa. this actually sits on the point that everything should be made accessible to every Nigerian. Now, I'm going to surprise everybody here. I'm sure you think that because you're from Nasarawa State, you cannot run in, give or take. Let me say you were born in Abia State. Now, there's no law against that in Nigeria. The truth is that we've not grown to understand what the laws are. We've not thought about the process as they are. So now the political objectives. The motto of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be unity, faith, peace, and progress. According to national integration, shall be actively encouraged, while discrimination on the grounds of place of origin, you understand? Place of origin, there shouldn't be discrimination on grounds of place of origin. I've had cases where people have risen within national civil service, and paid their taxes and done a lot of things and not been allowed to take up positions because they're not from the state of origin. This shows this is contravening against the what they call it, the constitution. Now, place of origin, sex, which means no gender is limited in Nigeria according to the constitution. Religious status, of course, ethnic, linguistic association or ties shall be prohibited. For this purpose, promoting national integration, it shall be the duty of the state to provide adequate facilities for and encourage free mobility of people, goods, and services throughout the federation, secure full residence rights for every citizen in all parts of the federation, encourage intermarriage among persons from different places of origin or of different religious, ethnic, and linguistic association or ties, promote or encourage the formation of associations that cut across ethnic, linguistic, religious, or other sectional barriers. The state shall foster a feeling of belonging and involvement among various peoples of Nigeria and the Federation. The state shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. Now, people think that corruption is when you steal money. Corruption is abuse of power. Whether it concerns finance, it concerns being nepotic and giving your local government people a job, or giving your cousin a job above who doesn't deserve it. That's corruption. Economic objectives of state, of course, the state shall, of course, within the context of the ideals and objectives of which are provisions of the constitution, harness the resources of the nation and promote national prosperity and an efficient, dynamic, and self-reliant economy, control the national economy in such a manner to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every citizen on the basis of social justice and equality of status and opportunity. Not because your father is the director of CBN, without prejudice to its right to operate or participate in areas of the economy, and of course on other major sectors of the economy, without prejudice to any right of any person to participate in the areas of the economy within major sector, protect the right of every citizen. Okay, protect the right of every citizen to engage in any economic. Could that person mute their mic? Lisa, please, could you help me mute that person's mic? Thank you. The state shall direct its policy towards ensuring promotion and planned and balanced economic development. Material resources of the nation are harnessed and distributed as best as possible to serve the common good. Economic system is not operated in such a manner to permit the concentration of wealth or means of production or exchange in the hands of few individuals or groups, which is oligarchy. Well, you guys know more about that. The suitable and adequate shelter, suitable and adequate food, reasonable national minimum living wage, old age care, which is totally deficient, and pensions and unemployment sick benefits and welfare of the disabled. Already, people living with disabilities are provided for in this constitution. I'll tell you this, it's not that Nigeria does not have laws. It's that Nigeria does not enforce its laws. So I want us to go into social objectives. I know that this chapter 2, and nobody's going to, we're going to end this class on this chapter 2 because a lot of things are here. So the state and social order is founded on ideals of freedom, equality, and justice. In furtherance of social order, every citizen shall have equality of rights, obligations, and opportunities before the law. The sanctity of the human person shall be recognized, and human dignity shall be maintained and enhanced. Well, I don't. If you've been held by police, you wonder whether this exists. Governmental actions shall be humane. Exploitation of human or natural resources in any form whatsoever for reasons other than the good of the community shall be prevented. The independence, impartiality, and integrity of courts of law and easy accessibility thereto shall be secured and maintained. The state shall direct its policy towards ensuring that all citizens, without discrimination on any group whatsoever, have the opportunity for securing adequate means of livelihood, as well as adequate opportunities to secure suitable employment. Conditions of work are just and humane, and there are adequate facilities for leisure and for social, religious, and cultural life, which means everywhere you work should also provide you a place for leisure. The health and safety and welfare of persons in employment are safeguarded and not endangered or abused. Well, we'll say hello to banks on this one. There are adequate medical and health facilities for all persons. In which country? I know what I want to make clear. There's equal pay for equal work without any discrimination on the account of sex or any other ground whatsoever. Children, young persons, and the aged are protected against exploitation whatsoever and against moral and material neglect. Provisions is made for public assistance in deserving cases or other conditions. The evolution and promotion of family life is encouraged. Now we'll go to educational objectives. Government shall direct policies towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate educational opportunities for all at all levels. Government shall promote science and technology. Well, you have the answer to that one. Government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy, and to this end, government shall, as and when practicable, provide free and compulsory universal primary education, free secondary education, free university education, and free adult literacy program. Now, I think we're going to have to split this class into a bit because I don't want us to just dilly-dally through it. I want us to understand it. So I'll allow questions now from what we've dealt with right now so that we're in tune with it. So, of course, show of hands again, and let's go through this. I'm sensing since there's no show of hands. Okay, Awal, I mean, could you go ahead? Thank you.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Awal.
Please, I want to ask what are the duties or the national ethnics of the Nigeria?
I don't understand your question.
What are the duties of the citizens and the national ethnic?
We're not yet there. We're almost there.
Okay.
We're almost there.
But are they sending the slides?
You said?
Are you people going to send for us the slide?
The slides have been on the class, I believe, since 2 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So pending there are no more questions, we'll move forward and then I'll try and stop at the end of things. So I'll jump directly to government and the people. The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be a state based on the principle of democracy and social justice. It is hereby declared that the sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from which the government through which this constitution derives its power and authority. Security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Participation of people in their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The composition of the government of the Federation or any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner to reflect federal character. You need to okay, we've read this. Good day, class, we've passed. Let me see things up. I think we have. We've passed that, right? Hello, we've passed that. Nobody corrected me. We've passed that.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the directives, of course, on Nigerian cultures. So the state shall protect and promote the Nigerian cultures which enhance human dignity and are consistent with fundamental objectives as provided by this chapter. Encourage development of technological and scientific studies which enhance cultural values. Now, the obligation of the mass media. The press, the radio, TV, and television, and all other agencies of mass media shall at all times be free to uphold the fundamental objectives contained in this chapter and uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people. National ethics. There shall be discipline, integrity, dignity of labor, social, justice, religious tolerance, self-reliance, and patriotism. Now, these are duties, national ethics, basis of which we operate. Now, duties of the citizen, like our last earlier we've got into, it shall be the duty of every citizen to abide by this constitution, respect its ideals. Let's note here that you cannot abide by a constitution you do not even know or understand. So a lot of us are failing our duties as citizens. So respect its ideals and institutions, national flag, national anthem, national pledge, and legitimate authorities. Help to enhance the power, prestige, and good name of Nigeria, defend Nigeria, and render such national service as may require. Respect the dignity of other citizens and the rights and legitimate interests of others, and live in the unity and harmony and in the spirit of common brotherhood. Make positive and useful contribution to the advancement, progress, and well-being of the community where you reside. I'm making it is where he resides, but it should be where you reside. I don't know why there is any. Render assistance to appropriate and lawful agencies in the maintenance of law and order. Declare his income honestly to tax appropriation and lawful agencies, and pay his tax promptly. That is your duty as a citizen. So we've gone over this chapter. Unjo Kutobi has a question. You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is, there has been this question that has been puzzling a lot of Nigerians. Whenever the Constitution of Nigeria comes to play, it's about what is Nigerian national interest. Because it has been a debate in public domain that Nigerians does not really know what is Nigerian national interest. That is number one. Then my second question is this. If we compare the National Assembly of Salaki and
Wait,
what
could
we
I answer your first question so that I don't get lost?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so you said you don't know Nigeria's national interest. Well, sometime in 1963, the Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa stated that Nigeria is totally non-aligned, meaning Nigeria supports every nation, Nigeria is friend to every nation, and Nigeria does not discriminate against nations. Nigeria is totally non-aligned. That's our national interest. We do not support either the Eastern or Western Bloc. We do not act in actions in which we might support a religious state based on a religious precedent. Nigeria is supposed to be totally non-aligned, meaning we are committed to a world of peace and direction. Are we also committed to the African Union? Yes, we are, but to a point where we only support our brothers in the African Union, and of course in the ECOWAS, which Nigeria, of course, plays a big brother in. So Nigeria's interests are totally to remain a free state, dealing with every nation as it deems right to help promote the productivity of the nation of Nigeria. Thank you very much. You can ask a second question.
Okay, so actually, this particular non-alignment you mentioned, I know exactly that is what you tell me.
I didn't mention it. If you
No,
check.
I know that is what you
Stop saying I mentioned it, because when you say it's like it's me that invented it, I didn't invent it.
Okay, but we know very well that that statement does not really correlate the notion national interest. Because let me explain it this way. If our national interest is non-alignment, in actual sense, that statement of non-alignment does not really make a political statement. Why do I say that? If you look at before Nigeria got independence, that statement that was made was like a message to the two blocks, economic blocks, controlling the world, the capitalists and the communism. But we come to add immediately Nigeria got independence, it is on public domain that 100 plate numbers we are giving to capitalist bloc, and template numbers were given to the communist bloc. Now, why do I have to say this? Before the Civil War broke out, Nigeria went to the capitalist society for support in terms of ammunition, which Britain was reluctant to help. But the communist bloc was already ready to help Nigeria in terms of ammunition to help and suppress the issue of insurrection. Now,
Please, no, Mr. Toby, I don't want to allow this in this class.
no, I just want to make it.
No, I know why I'm standing down on this.
Okay.
Like I would say, the Electoral College is non-partisan, non-governmental. Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa made this statement in 1963. From there, that's where Nigeria draws our national interest. Our national interest has. I'm not saying politicians have. You can't blame a nation for human errors. So Nigeria itself has made political errors, human errors, but you can't use it to alter the national interest. National interest on paper is not the same national interest. It hasn't gone anywhere. If people failed in executing what was written, that's a different ballgame. Most of the time, people want to go back into the 60s. Yes, of course, you need your history to tell where you are going. But if you dwell in that history, you will lose the chance of building a future. And that's what has prevailed over Nigeria a lot. We've tried to tell stories. If this one did this, if this during the Civil War, everybody is past the missile crisis. We're past all that. We're past communism. Communism is confused right now. Capitalism itself is in another corner. We can't continue dwelling on that particular point. It's not. I would have to stop because for me, I can tell where you're heading. And I don't want to go there. I don't want to mention the civil death. They're your classes, of course. You get to that point, the Civil War, what exactly went on, what happened, whatever, without bias. But we have a country now. We have a country to defend right now, not another country. I have one country. I don't know whether your own passport is different, but mine is green and it's Nigerian.
So we have one country. We have one country.
Okay. And that's what the Electoral College stands by, which is what the Constitution stands by. Thank you very much.
All right.
Armstrong Tukam, if I'm right. Armstrong, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, my question is, as a citizen of the Nigerian of Nigerian, how? Hello.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm in a meeting. I connected it to my head.
Hello. Can you hear me, please?
I hear you, Armstrong.
Okay. As a citizen, how can we bring change in our society in terms of governance? How can we play our own part?
Okay, Armstrong, I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to be honest here. Most people that have tried to bring change in Nigeria have always taken it to be, it's a race, all right, but they've always taken it to be a sprint. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. There's no nation that has achieved change in 5 seconds. It's not gonna happen. That's because we're plenty. We're the sixth most populous nation in the world, most populous black nation, most populous black nation in the world. 200 million people. And you want to change things, you must be ready to work long term. So as a citizen, how can do you uphold your laws? Do you respect your country? Do you hold your country before anything? Do you have love for country? It's easy to say these things, but if you put us in our little shells, how many of us actually went the right way when we're getting our driver's license? A lot of us probably even started driving before we're given a license by Nigeria. How many of us pay our tax? How many of us do not boycott normal lines? How many of us take kickbacks, which we shouldn't take in federal government? How many of us help politicians carry ballot boxes or alter situations because they're your friends or they're giving you an amount of money? How many times in the interest do we bury national interest to maybe support an ethnicity which we think we have? Let me tell you something. One of the greatest duties of a citizen is that you should remember you're Nigerian first before anything else. It's a hard thing to do. Trust me, dealing in this country, it's a hard thing to do. I'll say every day I question myself whether the decisions I've made are Nigerian. I'll tell you, based on origin, I'm quite a lost Nigerian. I have a lot of parts, so I can't even really align to a lot of parts. But I know how hard it is for people that have grown up and started and within a particular thought process, trying to understand the other side. I'll tell you, this country is fabulous. There's nobody fighting whether east, west, or north. We only fight on the basis of marginalization of resources. And the truth is that marginalization of resources, I'll be honest with you, if you stand on every angle, you find that of the over 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria, everybody is marginalized. And that's because the 250 ethnic groups are seeing themselves as 774 countries in one state. Till we start to see ourselves as Nigerians, we'll never understand our direct duties as citizens, and our citizens and Nigeria will not be great. Hello? Hello? Okay. He's missing. Lisa, could we have the next slide? And we'll take chapter 3. I think we're extending this class too long. It's not that we're extending class too long, but it's going to be a long class. So we'll take chapter 3 and then we shut down, and then we'll take the other 3 chapters next week. I think, Lisa, do we have a chance for another class before the class starts? Maureen. Okay, let me just proceed with chapter 3. So chapter 3 goes to citizenship. Now we could, now to become a Nigerian, which is a gift a lot of us take for granted, there are ways to become a Nigerian. So the first way to become a Nigerian is, of course, by birth, which most of us are by birth. So either of whose parents or any grandparents belong to a community indigenous. Please note I said either whose parents or any of whose grandparents belong to a community indigenous to Nigeria, provided that the person shall not become a citizen of Nigeria by the virtue of this section if neither of his parents nor any of his grandparents was born in Nigeria. Every person born in Nigeria after the date of independence, either of whose parents or any of whose grandparents is a citizen of Nigeria. Every person who's born outside Nigeria, either of whose parents is a citizen, and they're a citizen by registration. So if he's a person of a good character, he has shown clear intention of his desire to be domiciled in Nigeria, has taken the oath of allegiance prescribed on 7th schedule of this constitution, the provision of the section shall apply to any woman who is or has been married to a citizen of Nigeria, every person of full age and capacity born outside Nigeria, any of whose grandparents is a citizen of Nigeria. There's of course citizenship by naturalization. So subject to provisions of the constitution of Section 28 of this constitution, any person who is qualified in accordance with the provisions of this section may apply to the president for the same certificate of naturalization. No person shall be qualified to apply for the grant of certificate or naturalization unless he satisfied the president that, which means these are the qualities for you to be naturalized as a Nigerian. He is a person of age and capacity, a person of good character, has shown clear intention of his desire to be domiciled in Nigeria, is of the opinion of the governor of the state where he is or he proposes to be resident. Meaning, even as a Nigerian, you can shift states, but nobody's thinking of this. Acceptable to the local community, which is to live permanently and has been assimilated into the way of life of Nigerians in that part of the federation. The person who is capable or making useful contribution to the advancement, progress, and well-being of Nigeria was taking the oath of allegiance prescribed in the 7th schedule as immediately preceded the date of his residence in Nigeria for 15 years, resident in Nigeria continues for a period of 12 months during the period of 20 years immediately. So as a Nigerian, you could also have dual citizenship, But as you go along down the line, you see the flaws of dual citizenship and etc. You also can renounce your citizenship of Nigeria. And the president may withhold the registration of any declaration made under subsection 1 if, when the declaration is made during any war in which Nigeria is physically involved, his opinion it is otherwise contrary to public policy. Full age meaning 18 years, woman who is married and deemed full of age. You can renounce. Deprivation of citizenship meaning forceful withdrawal of citizenship. Now, the president may deprive a person or any other person who is a citizen of Nigeria by birth registration or citizenship if he's satisfied that the person has, within a period of 7 years, after becoming naturalized, been sentenced to imprisonment for a term not less than 3 years. The president shall deprive a person other than a person who is a citizen of Nigeria by birth of his citizenship, meaning this part cannot affect someone who was born if he's satisfied from the records of proceeding of court of law and any tribunal after due inquiry in accordance with the regulations made by him. The person has shown himself an act or speech disloyal to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The person has, during any war in which Nigeria was engaged, unlawfully traded with the enemy or been engaged in or associated with any business that was, in the opinion of the president, carried out in such a manner to assist the enemy of Nigeria in war. So citizenship is a big thing. And a lot of us consider this to be, something that we could just toy with or we could just play with. But citizenship is a commitment. Most of us are committed to, I'd like to explain something. So we're all committed to our religions, whatever religion you worship, whatever deity you get. Nigeria is a secular state, and we need to understand that. But where we do not draw the line is when we become citizens. So now, as a citizen, in retrospect, what is your commitment? The Constitution is to be your holy book as a citizen. That's your holy book as a citizen. And most of us are just even having maybe probably the first interface with the Constitution, which is why we're beginning to understand, this person did like this person did like that. But that does not necessarily make it right. Because someone does something, or because the country does not even know any different, doesn't make it right that as a citizen, because you don't understand your constitution and the person who's in power also doesn't understand the constitution, you both can make something a culture which doesn't actually exist. So the laws of Nigeria do not stop anybody from running anywhere in Nigeria or living anywhere in Nigeria. Don't say it's because these people said it. No, it's not backed by the constitution, and you can challenge this clearly. So we're going to stop at chapter 3. I believe next week we still have a chance before the classes fully start. I believe we still have a chance. So we'll take post chapter 3. So anything we have dealt with today, you can ask me questions now. Thank you very much, everyone. Agbola Odun.
Good evening, everyone. And good evening, moderators. First of all, I want to commend you for putting this together, as it is one of the most important thing in the life of every citizen. Constitution and its help. What it does as guidance. Now, Constitution on its own should be studied the way we study our holy books, because there are a lot of things that we don't know. There are a lot of things that we don't know is covered by law. A lot of people are in jail today because they don't know how to defend themselves. So I will, suggest you take it a bit further, because I'm seeing 50 participants, which I expect to be double the number, because on the Telegram group we're over 100. Now, I don't know how much publicity you can do, perhaps the next class to increase, and also if you have other social media platforms, if you can take it chapter by chapter to educate more people, because a lot of people don't even believe there is a constitution, and a lot more people don't believe they should study the Constitution and know their rights and their excesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Agbola. I would say we've tried to market this a lot to the best of our knowledge. I would also like to say on the Telegram group you are on, you have close to 790 people, 780 something. The admins are about 8. So 780 something people there. And we've boosted our Zoom to take a class of 1,000. But I can't, it's one thing to tell people to register when we're doing this for free. It's another thing to get them to attend the class. I don't know how that works. I just wished we could really reach out to a lot of people. I'll tell you, you're still in pre-classes. You haven't even gotten to what class it is. But we need these bases. And, as we're moving across cohorts, we found out that these bases need to be placed so that when we go into classes, you'll understand them better. So thank you very much for your worthy suggestion. And thank you for everything, Abola. Ola Kunle, could I have your question?
All right, thank you, Ola. Thank you very much for putting this together as the other speaker has alluded to. Thank you very much. Yeah, Adekunle, I know. All right, thank you very much. Yes. So one thing that I'll say is that we cannot have enough of the Constitution. The Constitution is so big that it cannot even take 13 weeks to break it down, okay? So what I've done over the years is to try to Google on the Constitution myself, and sometimes I just get some results. I get tired, so I would like to beg and appeal that you please share the app that you are using on your phone right now to do the presentation. Can you share it on the maybe chat box so that we can also have it? Because really, I have a PDF folder which I seldom open, but if I have the app, as you said, it will be nice. So thank you very much for the work you're doing.
I'll do that very much, namesake. So I'll of course share that with the group so that is done. So thank you very much. I'm seeing a question from Armstrong. Armstrong, are you there? Okay. Pending, there are no more questions now.
Can you hear me, please?
Armstrong, I can hear you.
Okay. This last chapter, I want to ask if Nigeria gives from the Constitution, if Nigeria gives citizens by birth, like you become a Nigerian citizen by birth. Let's say your parents are not from Nigeria, but because you are born in Nigeria, does that automatically make you a citizen of Nigeria?
I think I'll need to consult for that. For me, I think first, Nigeria does provide citizenship by birth, of course, but remember that it would entail that's citizenship by birth to entail for your parents or grandparents being indigenous to a community in Nigeria. A person whose parents are both foreign and born in Nigeria, I think would have to live in Nigeria for 15 years before you can now apply for citizenship as a Nigerian.
Oh. All right, I'm clear.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other question? We could as well close the class after this. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. We'll have a part 2 of this class because as it seems, the Constitution is a lot wider than, I knew it was more wider, but I thought we'd be able to skim through it, but I think it's a little more hectic than us skimming through it because I want everybody to understand what exactly we're doing. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending this class. I'd like to thank everyone as we put this class. I would share this thing. And today we are leaving the conversation on Telegram open, just so that we don't want forwarded messages or whatever. If just maybe we could banter over. If I'm still free, I'll still try to answer questions that you probably have. or you probably are dealing with while in the class. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone. I look forward to another great class. So next week is free. We'll continue the part 2 of the Constitution. So we'll go over 3 to 6. I hope we'll have more people that are on the class here. 48 is bad for 780 students. It's very bad. So I would send a copy of the Constitution I'll send an app for the Constitution on the group and make that all clear. We can all still talk a bit about class. I'll tell you the Electoral College runs the family system, and we of course want to interact with everyone. We're just trying to control the normal information that's coming in from everywhere. So thank you everyone for attending this class. Thank you everyone. Thank you Lisa and Maureen for being admin here and helping facilitate everything going on. Thank you, everyone. So I'd like to shut the class down today. So thank you, everyone, on behalf of the board of the Electoral College, the working arm, which is known as the region. Thank you, everyone. It's, of course, a pleasure for having everyone here. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you,
was an
everyone.
interesting class.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
And I say thank you.